What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So one of the questions I'm always asked at the moment is, what are these and can you actually game on them? And hopefully today we can answer those questions for you. So to answer the first question, this is an Nvidia Quadro. It is a graphics card, but it's not for gaming, it's actually designed for workstations. This one in particular is an Nvidia Quadro FX 3800, and I purchased it a long time ago for one of the machines in the studio. And I've never actually tried to game on it because I wasn't sure if it would actually do it, and it was never bought for that purpose in the first place. But this one, being an FX 3800, comes with 192 cores. It's got 1 GB of DDR3 memory, and it was released in 2009. Now, I paid about £10 for this back in the day, but you can actually still pick them up for between £5 and £10 on eBay, which isn't bad for a card that would have cost you over £800 when you bought them new. This is all nice, but we want to answer the second question of, can you actually game on it? So we're going to drop it on our test bench and see what it'll do. Okay, so we dropped the card onto the test bench and we're actually running some of our older equipment here. We've got a first gen i5 processor with 8 GB of DDR3 RAM. Now, the one thing that you'll notice when you actually plug these on is they're really loud when they boot up. So the fan spins 100% for quite a while, which is really annoying, but anyway, it's okay. You will also notice with these that there are no game-ready drivers from Nvidia. You actually just got workstation drivers, and you can just pick up the latest ones. They do them for Windows 10, so that's perfect. So the first game we're going to look at is quite an old one. It was made in 2004, and it's Half-Life 2. Now, it generally runs on any kind of potato system, so let's see if the Quadro can actually do it. We'll just check the settings and go to the video. So we're currently running in 1080p with full high settings on everything, and the frames per second are actually looking pretty good. So let's do a bit of a run round. Now, it's not looking bad. Clearly this card can play this game quite well. Even without the game ready drivers, it's performing pretty well. Remember, we don't go to Raven home, although we had to. If you played the game, you'll understand that. And now we're averaging about 189 frames per second, which is perfect for this kind of system. So clearly, the Quadro FX 3800 can play Half-Life 2 perfectly fine. So let's bump it up a little bit. We'll stay on the same engine and we'll go a few years ahead and we'll take a look at another one. This game is Left 4 Dead 2. It was produced in 2009, so it's pretty much the same time as the card was itself. But it's actually playing really, really well. Considering this card is not actually designed for gaming, we're getting over 60 frames per second at, let's double check the settings. We're running in 1080p, again with very high settings, and everything's turned up, so that's pretty cool. We'll keep it running, see if we get a bit of a dip when we get a lot of zombies on the screen. So far it's still running over 60 frames per second. And it's not dropping at all very well. It's doing pretty good. Even with a lot of things on the screen, a lot of moving things, the card's actually performing. Obviously, we're getting a bit of heat from it now because the coolers on these are not great, and we're currently running at 80 degrees, but it's more than happy doing it. We've not actually seen it affect the gameplay at all, so that's another game that it can play. So now we'll try something a little bit different. We'll switch from what is classed as the Source engine and Half-Life 2. It can clearly play those games really well. And we go to something, again, a little bit old, but totally different engine. It's a bit of a remaster of the original Tomb Raider. So it's Tomb Raider Anniversary, and we'll see how it actually performs now. Again, looking at the frames per second that we're getting, and we are running in... We'll have a look at the display settings. It doesn't really actually give us a lot in here, but basically when the game started, we set it to 1080p highest settings. So again, 1080p high settings, and this game can clearly play very well. We're getting an average of 320 frames per second. So next we're going to be looking at a game that will actually push this card to its limits. It's a little bit newer than all the others, and we're staying in on the theme of Tomb Raider, and we're looking at the 2013 version of Tomb Raider. It's actually quite an intensive game, but it runs pretty well on most systems. It's quite well optimized. Now for this run, we're running in 720 because we couldn't get it very stable in 1080, but we're running in normal settings and it doesn't look too bad. This is completely playable. We're getting an average of 64 frames per second at the moment. There's no lag in anything that we're doing. There's no stuttering. It's pretty good all round. I wouldn't actually believe that a card this old and this cheap could actually play a game like this, considering that it doesn't even have game drivers. You would have thought that it wouldn't be able to play anything like this at all. And obviously, if we boost up the resolution a little bit, lock the VSync in so we can get it down, we'd probably average around the 40 to 50, maybe 60 frames per second with a bit of tweaking, additional tweaking to the settings, but I'm actually really impressed. So we've answered the two original questions. What is this? It's an Nvidia Quadro. It's a workstation card that you can pick up super cheap. Can it play games? Yes, it can. It can actually play a lot of the older games perfectly fine, and even some of the newer ones too, or at least newish. I know Tomb Raider's from 2013, but I didn't think throwing Cyberpunk at something like this was even worth it because it's clearly not going to play that at all. But it wouldn't be fair if we didn't give it some kind of reference, so we're going to do some more testing and we'll compare it up against this. This is the studio's GT710. A lot of budget gamers are currently using these because a lot of the systems on eBay that are selling as gaming systems during the GPU crisis are throwing these cards in and promising the world. So we'll do a bit of benchmarking, we'll do a bit of comparison, and we'll see, can the Nvidia Quadro actually outrun the GT710? Let's give it a go. So hopefully from those benchmarks you can see that the Nvidia Quadro FX 3800 actually pretty much beat the pants off of a GT710 in a lot of the games, and we are just testing older games there because even the GT710 would struggle on anything new. The Quadro actually doubles the frames per second that you get, meaning that it's actually a great option to just get a system up and running. How useful are they? Probably not that much really, because they do get very warm. This one is still warm now, even after a bit of benchmarking and being out of the system for about 20 to 30 minutes. But they are useful if you want to get your new machine up and running and you can't find a graphics card and you just want to get it installed, you want to get a picture on the screen and you want to do a bit of light gaming on some of the older stuff. It's perfect for that. Now I hope we've answered everyone's questions on what this is and can it actually game. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Drop us a like so we know to do more, and we'll catch you in the next one.